Hey guys, how's it going? Otaku Mike here, back again with another video for you guys today. We're doing a comic review, and today we were looking at the 3-issue miniseries put out by DC Black Label, written and drawn by Stepan Sachek. Stay tuned, I will tell you how this comic is. And let's get into this video. If you're new to the channel, you like what you see, please consider subscribing. It always helps. Let's get into it. So, what is exactly Harleen all about? Well, it is basically the origin story for the character of Harley Quinn, probably one of the most popular characters in the DC universe. Our story starts out with young Harleen. She is working at a place that studies criminal psychology. She has a new interesting take on how to potentially cure the criminals, and she is trying to get funding for her research. She is basically has been shunned by her peers in the world of psychology because of something that happened in her college days. She had an affair with a teacher, even though her grades were up to par and actually exceeded most of the class itself. So she has been ostracized basically by most of the entire community that she looks up to. She has a fateful encounter with the Joker and Batman one night, and she starts to become fixated on the Joker and wanting to help him. She eventually does get funding for her research through Wayne Enterprises, and she gets to put her theories into effect to potentially try to cure Gotham's most notorious villains. Because that's how it goes. Obviously, you're gonna try to help cure the insane people. Throughout her months there, working with all the different rogues and whatnot, she starts to develop a relationship with the Joker, which is really interesting because you don't know if the Joker's actually going to. He actually cares about Harley, or if he's actually just using Harley. But this is a Harley-centric story. It's all about Harley, which I actually quite enjoyed. We really get into the mental headspace of what Harley is actually trying to accomplish and how she's actually going to accomplish her said goals of trying to help reform all of these different characters within the Batman universe, which I personally really liked. I don't really want to go into too much detail story-wise because I don't want to spoil some of the things that actually happen within this book. I thought this book was really well written, and I thought the artwork was amazing. I liked how we got a real introspectual look into Harley and her thinking, like how she deals with the fact that she's having constant nightmares and having to deal with these nightmares. Dealing with the Joker and stuff was really interesting, as well as getting to see her thought process with the other rogues in this was really interesting, and dealing with the staff that had a completely different outlook on things than she did. All of that was very well woven together to an extent. But you get to see her descent into madness. It is a slow descent, but you get to see it, and she knows that she is doing wrong things and going down these wrong paths, but she can't necessarily help herself because she is drawn to the Joker to an extent. And that's what I found really fascinating, because in reality, Harley is probably one of the most her story is probably one of the most tragic stories within the DC universe as a whole. You can say is a lot of it has to do with an abusive relationship and stuff like that. That's what a lot of people go to. But seeing her mental stability break down throughout this story was probably one of the most saddest things to read, because of the fact you know how this is going to end. The choices that she makes in this are going to lead her down a road that she can't really truly come back from, even though they like to say she is more of an anti-hero now in the DC universe. In reality, she's done a lot of bad. In this book, she just makes a couple of bad decisions, to say the least. But I also did really enjoy the relationship between Joker and Harley. It was, for all intents and purposes, it was a forbidden, smutty romance. I liked how it built upon our preconceived notions of what exactly happens in their relationship. Joker actually came off as quite a nice guy, even though you obviously know he's manipulating her in some way, shape, or form. He's not necessarily that bad in this book. He's just, a little crazy at times. I also enjoyed seeing her interaction with the different rogues like Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, Zaz, Killer Croc, etc., etc. And I really liked the incorporation of Batman into this. Batman was very sparingly used, which I really enjoyed. He didn't really overtake the book that much. One particular scene that I really liked, where she got to interview Batman, she asked, can these people be truly helped and truly reformed? And at that point in the series, she is really starting to doubt herself, and can she actually help these people? And he's like, yes, I believe each and every one of them can basically be helped to some extent. And she's like, even the Joker? And he's like, many have tried. And I felt that particular scene set the tone for the rest of the things that were going to happen within this book. This book was amazing. It is probably my favorite depiction of Harley Quinn that I have personally read. A lot of times, I feel like it's hard, or people have a hard time writing Harley Quinn. A lot of people just want to turn her into the Deadpool of the DC universe. She's kind of a real slapstick, funny kind of deranged character. But in this book, there are so many different layers to Harley. This book can be picked apart probably for years at a time and analyzed. And we could probably keep pulling things out of this series for quite some time. I would love to see things happen and go forward in this series if we ever get more within it, because this is pretty much a self-contained story. You don't need to really know anything about the DC universe, because this is a Black Label book. It is not connected to the DC universe as a whole. It's kind of set in its own continuity. But I actually do recommend this book quite a bit. It was a really fun read, surprisingly long read. For a 3-issue series, I thought it was going to be a little short, but each issue was, I think, double-sized. So it's like 2 issues in one for each issue. I really liked the characterizations of everybody in this. I thought it was very well written. I feel like this book built upon the things that were taken from the original Harley Quinn story, Mad Love, written by Paul Dini and Bruce Timm, and took those aspects and kept what was good about that and expanded upon that to create a really interesting, very riveting story about, somebody that, it's a very heartbreaking story, yet weirdly, it's also a romance story, which I thought was pretty interesting to say the least. But I don't want to spoil too much about this. That's why I was like, I don't want to spoil it. But I will show you some of the artwork. Here's some of the artwork by Stepan Sejcek. His artwork is just beautiful and just very well done. He is actually one of my favorite comic book artists. I remember reading his run on Witchblade, which I thought was phenomenal. He didn't write Witchblade, but he drew and did the art for Witchblade. And I was like, God, I gotta pick this up. Luckily, Darth Penn recommended it to me, and he was like, hey, go check this out. And I was like, yeah, I will. All in all, this is actually a good book. You can pick it up for like $20. If you're looking to get into the DC universe as a whole, and you like the character of Harley, go check this out. It's a real interesting read and a very thought-provoking read, to say the least. It might not be for everybody, but if you're looking and you're interested in checking it out, go check it out. It's not a big time sink. It's just that good. It is probably the best depiction of Harley Quinn that I've ever read. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Go check this out. Let me know in the comments if you read Harley or if you want to read Harleen. Anyways, guys, catch you guys on the next video.